Okay, I'm just waiting on notification.
Sir.
Uh, Thank you again, sir. You've been the most requested from from every person I've interviewed out of the East Coast. Okay, and we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast. We have a great guest, um, student minister Arthur Muhammad, who I was saying before we went live has been the most suggested um, interviewee from people who every time I've interviewed somebody from New York or from the East Coast, you are in their stories. They keep bringing your name up. So we're trying to connect all of the dots to hear our great history coming from the East Coast to all around the country. My sister Miriam says, Assalamu alaikum, family. Walaikum salam, and Brother Minister, first of all, Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum salam, Brother Josh. Let me just say how proud I am of you and the great work that you're doing on this podcast. I've been following you. You have some very provocative guests that really peel back the history of the Nation of Islam, and the service that you're doing. You know, it's not corny. It's very attractive. You know, there are certain things that you can tolerate 2 minutes, 3 minutes, but literally I've watched whole shows of yours, and I think that you
Thank you
have
so
the
much.
temperament, the spirit, the humility, and the courage to ask the tough questions as well. So thank you for what you do, brother.
Praise be to Allah. Thank you very much, Brother Minister. Greetings, Dr. Henry Carter, and thank you for tapping in with us today on the People's Podcast as well. Okay, well, the first question um, that I usually ask is, when did you first get the teachings? But because I knew and know, for those who don't know, that you were an assistant minister and still assisting the city of New York, but Minister Abdul Hafiz, may Allah be pleased with him, for so many years. Could you just, we want to go straight to that. How was it working and being taught and trained by him?
Well, let me do history and then I'll get into that. And I'm
Yes, sir.
hearing a little feedback, Brother Josh.
Okay, yes, sir. Do you still
Okay.
hear?
On my end, it's subsided slightly, but I'll work through it.
Yes, sir.
First of all, I came to the mosque in 1988. I was a member of the Zulu Nation. I was a rapper. I used to tour with Africa Bambaataa in the Zulu Nation.
Okay, okay.
Just got off of a 40-city tour. And so I had started listening to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in 1984. The first time I heard him was when he was defending Jesse Jackson. And I got my actual first tape from Africa Bambaataa. And as a result, I became an instant fan. And so when we got off a tour, Bambaataa said, brother, would you like to go to Chicago and see Minister Farrakhan live? They're having a Savior's Day, a celebration. I was like, Farrakhan live? I mean, no tapes? Because we used to have the cassette tapes
Yes,
and
sir.
VHS tapes. And so I went, and this was when they had Savior's Day under the tent. They had purchased the mosque, but the mosque had not yet been dedicated. And I was so overwhelmed with Black men, clean, suited and booted, the respect that I saw that they gave our women, the structure, the organization. And even though I was in a very mighty organization, the Zulu Nation, that had thousands of brothers and sisters throughout New York City, or the country and the world, the discipline and the structure that I saw was on an all-time level. And I remember after the 3-day weekend being on the plane and telling Africa Bambaataa, and I was like his national spokesman. I said, brother, I want to join the Nation of Islam and I need your blessings. And he told me, brother, those brothers are serious. If you're going to join them, you can't be jiving. If you're serious, you got my blessings. And I was so happy. That was on a Sunday, because that the Savior's Day obviously ended on the Sunday. I could not wait to find the mosque. So that very next Sunday, I found the mosque in Harlem, and I went, and it was a brother by the name of Kevin X. We know him as Minister Abdul Hafiz Muhammad, but at that time, it was a Kevin X, and he was teaching. And I'm telling you, I just couldn't wait until the end of his lecture to ask, who wants to help the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And when he did, brother, and it was in March of, no, not March. It was in October of '88, brother. I stood up, and brother, that was like my destiny. When I first came into the mosque, I was so fired up. I had read many of the books. I had graduated from college. So, I mean, I wanted to get my feet on the ground because I just wanted to help Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. By 1989, Minister Hafeez would have me opening up on Wednesday nights for him, and then sometimes on Sundays. And I'll never forget, it was 1990. He called me and he said, brother, I want you to be my assistant minister. We had a brother by the name of Brother Jason. In fact, one of your guests talked about Brother Jason, who donated his kidney.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Brother Kenneth, right?
Yes, sir.
And Brother Jason was the assistant minister prior to me, and it was another brother by the name of Brother James out of Tampa.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. And so Minister Kevin at that time asked me to become his assistant minister. I'm like 25 years old. I say, yes, sir. And I was his assistant minister all but 3 weeks. Because after that, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan ushered Minister Khalid in. In those days, in the early 90s, late 80s, we were on a tour. We were on that Stop the Killing tour, and we were traveling everywhere. And I'll never forget, we drove to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on a Friday night, stayed into a hotel, got up at the crack of dawn, drove somewhere to upstate New York. It was either Rochester or Buffalo. And then the minister taught there. So he taught in Pittsburgh, he taught in Rochester. Then we drove back like 8 hours back to the city. And on that day, he ushered Minister Khalid in. So that was the end of my assistant ministry for that time.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. And I want to make sure my sister Naima says Assalamu alaikum, Naima, and send you the greetings as well. We want to make sure that we thank you and your family for you all sacrifice and helping to reestablish Islam and to rebuild our nation. Can you let us know what was it like working under Dr. Khalid?
Yes, that brother was a psychological master. He was a very organized, no nonsense, fearless brother. He loved making a display of the brothers. He would love, after a mosque meeting, lining the brothers up, including the guests. He would have the guests so fired up, he'd have them in size order: short man to the front, tall man to the rear, walking through Harlem. Black woman, we love you. We love you. Black man, we respect you. I mean, sometimes at night he have us jogging in the park, and he was very military minded. He was a great inspiration. And in fact, the reason why I've worn the bald head all of these years is because before I joined the nation, I heard a tape of him debating two Jewish fellows. I think they were rabbis, and the topic was, who is the original Jew, or who's the chosen people of God? And I saw this one man with this shiny black bald head dismantled with the scriptures, these two scholars of religion. And I said, man, that's the spirit that I want to help the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan with. So I shaved my little, I didn't have a flat top, but I had and it's been bald ever since.
Praise be to Allah. Wonderful.
But you asked me about Minister Hafeez, so I don't want to not mention and give that props. So yes, you have to understand that Minister Hafeez is a man that was the minister when I came in. Then it shifted to Brother Khalid. Then it shifted to Brother Conrad.
Yes, sir.
Then it shifted back to Brother Hafeez. Then it shifted back to Brother Ben Chavis
yes,
at that time, and then Brother Hafeez. So I've always been in ministry. In fact, I assisted, not as the assistant, but I was on the ministry team with Brother Khalid, Brother Conrad, and Brother Ben. And in those days, it was not incompatible for a brother to be a lieutenant and in the ministry at the same time. And that's the type of what brother I was, because I was a lieutenant for many years before I was asked to be in ministry full time. But let's go back to Brother Minister Hafeez.
Yes, sir.
Minister Benjamin was no longer the minister, and Minister Hafeez, who had established Brooklyn Mosque number 7C with some hard-working, sincere soldiers out of Brooklyn,
yes, sir,
asked to leave his legacy and come to New York and to save the spirit and to rebuild the numbers and to be that rock. And of course, I was already on the staff, but I helped. And let me share something with you about Minister Hafeez.
yes, sir.
Minister Hafeez was top 5 in charity, top 5 in attendance, top 5 in Savior's Day gift, top 5 in fishing. He did not like to be, nor was he outworked. Here's a brother that when Allah blessed him and his wife, Sister Lorraine, with a home, they lived nearly 2 hours away from the mosque. But this brother, most times, was the first brother in the mosque and the first one or the last one to leave. He took his post very seriously. Minister Hafeez, though he had a sense of humor, he was not a joking man. He was very serious about his post, and he was a chronic micromanager because he knew that he had vicarious responsibility. So he would be in Chicago listening to the minister. Some days, when the minister's out, the regional ministers from the largest cities go out to Chicago. So, I've been in the nation for so long, running the mosque is not a problem, but he'll be texting me, brother, what's the numbers like, brother? What's the spirit like? All right now, brother, call me if anything. I mean, and so he always wanted to make sure that everything was right. And he was also a man of structure and a man of protocol, no nonsense. Another thing about Minister Hafeez, he didn't have a pastime. He didn't have a hobby. He was married to the work. And if you did not have that spirit, you couldn't work with him because he would drive you and drive the best and the most out of you because that was his spirit. One more thing about my brother is that he was a brother that if a believer had a nephew's, aunt's, uncle, little brother's cousin, next door neighbor, he would go visit them in the hospital. He showed me, especially towards the last 10 years, that ministry is not about fashion. It's not about pomp and circumstance, but it's about service. And he took his post very seriously. May Allah be pleased with my brother.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. May Allah be pleased. And thank you, sir. My next question for you is, how did your parents feel about you? You saying you're the national spokesman of the Zulu Nation, and then you are joining, accepting the teachings of the Most Honorable Minister and Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, under the leadership of the Most Honorable Min Farrakhan. How did your parents feel about that?
Well, my mom and dad grew me up as a Baptist, so I was a Christian. I went to Lutheran Junior High School, Catholic High School, and Catholic College. So I had a level of theology, Christian theology, under my belt. And during the time that I began to take the nation seriously in contemplating joining, my mom had Alzheimer's disease. So she was not really in her mind to react. But my father, who suffered from cirrhosis of the liver, he felt the type of way when I told him I was going to join the Nation of Islam. He said, boy, he said, Farrakhan didn't pay your way to college. I paid your way through college. Farrakhan didn't buy that car. I bought that car. This is a Jesus house. So I was anticipating that feedback. So I said, Dad, could you come here? He said, what you want, boy? I said, look at this. Because my father was a mason and a shriner.
Yes, sir.
He had one plaque that said Allahu Akbar. He had another plaque that said La ilaha illallah. I said, Dad, this is what I'm learning at the mosque. So why are you going to be upset with me for becoming a Muslim, learning Islam, when your plaques, you are part of Medina 19 Lodge, and Medina is the second holiest city in Islam? He said, boy, you know too much. Get out of here. And that, no more pushback after that.
Praise be to Allah. Excellent, sir. Excellent. And Brother Victor P., who was in DC, but who's out of New York, always texting me about the Giants, sends the greetings. Assalamu alaikum salam, Brother Victor P.
Please give Brother Victor the greetings. We're from the same hometown of money earning Mount Vernon.
Okay, yes, sir. Money earning Mount Vernon. Okay, thank you. My next question for you is, what was it like the first time you met the Most Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan?
Man, first time I met the minister, we were on a detail in the airport. And this was the time when we used to have carte blanche. Captain Dennis knows how to organize a detail at the airport. So the minister had like a little waiting area, and we were all doing security. And the minister said, come on, brothers, come on, get the minister the greetings. So brothers gave the minister the greeting. And I remember I had on one of them straw hats, and I went to go greet the minister, give him cheek to cheek. And boy, I knocked his glasses to the side. Like, oh, I'm so sorry, brother minister. He said, that's all right, brother. So calm and humble. I was so nervous, brother. I've never been that nervous in my life. And I've been in near-death situations. I was so overcome by his awesome presence. I felt like I could float home from the airport after meeting the minister, because in truth, you know, and this was several years after I joined the nation, I had accepted the fact that I may never meet him, but I met his mission, I met his work, and that was sufficient to me to give up the things that I was involved in prior. I call it BI, before Islam.
Yes, sir.
I gave up those things to help him, never thinking that I would ever meet him. So I was good. I was good after I met the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. It's probably first time for me was in '91.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. Excellent, sir. And thank you all again for continuing to watch the People's Podcast. My next question for you, sir, is you said you made peace with not maybe never meeting the minister, but being married to his mission. When did you go from seeing the minister as someone who may be an activist or a great speaker to someone who was in fact divinely guided?
Oh man, before I joined, because you know, I was always in the Black history, so I followed Jesse very closely when he was running for president, when he would debate Walter Mondale and others who wanted to be president, to see him defeat these Caucasian in the arena of ideas. You know, normally we beat him up in the ring or on the basketball court. That did something for me. He gave me chills at times. The minister gave me chills and tears. And I'm not a crier. And so when the minister was able to take me, and he has this ability, he could have made a tape or a lecture in 1980, and you hear it 1988. You can hear that same tape in 2020, and you think that he's talking just for you, just for you, and just about your circumstance. You like, yo, brother minister, you up in my business, but you can't be, because you made that message many years ago.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that was the connection, to know that that man is divinely guided. Remember, I told you I had a base in Christianity. So my first couple of years of listening to the minister, I was trying to disprove him. I was trying to find fault. And that made me study him even more. And you know how that saying goes, if you can't beat him, join him. That's what I did.
Praise be to Allah. Excellent. And I have one more question. What was it like, I mean, concerning Minister Abdul Hafeez, because you just have such a close relationship to him. How could you please extend the greetings to his family and let him know on behalf of myself and my family and the People's Podcast that we love them, thank them for their sacrifice, and we will continue to uphold his name for the work that he has done. Praise be to Allah.
I shout, I speak to his wife, 2-3 times a month, make sure that she's okay. Man, the believers, they'll come out, all of our handyman, make sure that lawn is done, anything that needs to be done in the bathroom, on the porch, and charity.
Praise be to Allah.
We are ensuring that his wife does not have to want for anything as long as she lives, because she sacrificed, the husband wife, the normal husband wife relationship, to allow her husband to have the hardest job in New York City and the Eastern region. And that's not being a salesman for AT&T or IBM. That's being a representative of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So we had him often more than she had him.
Yes, sir.
That meant that she was also married to the mission. MGT. Shout out to Sister Lorraine Muhammad.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. Okay, my next question for you is, you said you have been in life or death situations. Well, my question is, since you were in Mount Vernon, coming from Mount Vernon into Harlem to Brooklyn, all of the boroughs that I've learned from hearing rap music, has there ever been a time that you've been faced with fear or a death threat? And if so, how have you overcome that?
Well, my first sense of fear in the Nation of Islam happened probably in 1989. We did a detail. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was speaking in the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. And the East Coast was assigned to do the outside. So we drove 4.5 hours to do the outside post. But it was all right, because we soldiers.
Yes, sir.
And on this particular day, brother, this is like probably my first detail traveling with the brothers. I see SWAT police on the roof. I see highway patrols on their motorcycles. I see campus police. I see mounted police on their horses. I see Jewish protesters. And we drove into a very tense atmosphere. So we got our instructions and we got on our post, and the instructions was, we were assembled, in intervals, throughout deep throughout the parking lot. And is when you see the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's caravan, salute and then keep watching. So we did that. And the next thing you know, when they got close to the entrance, all you heard was, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. And yo, brother, all the fruit just start running. We just start running. And then brother Akil, he said, brothers, lock arms. We locking arms. So what the situation was, let's just say the place held 5,000 people. They had the police, the fire people with the clickers, and they had 4,999. So they said they went to the car and said, listen, we are full to capacity. There are 4,999 people, and there's only one person that can go in. That will be Minister Farrakhan. We will escort the minister in, not your security. Oh, hell to the no. So when we grabbed arms and we made a wall to make sure that the minister's caravan was secured, brother, they tried to bring the horses and bust our caravan up. They were galloping the horses to us. And brother Akil was like, nobody move. Nobody moved. And brother, all you just felt was the energy in our biceps, this chain, where we were 2 lines deep and the horses galloped up to us and nobody moved. Next thing you know, the horses went up like this. The horses wouldn't go any further because I believe they felt the spirit of Allah, that we were ready to give our lives. But I was scared. I was scared, not while it happened, as it was happening, but the synergy of fearlessness from the commanding officer to the soldiers that was like, yes, sir, Allahu Akbar. It fed into my trepidation being a new FOI, first detail. And that's when I said, man, I'm ready to give my life for this. All praise is due to Allah.
Praise be to Allah. And thank you very much, sir, for putting your life on the line and having the spirit of Allah, the true and living. Thank you very much for that. My next question for you, sir, is what was it like? And now during the May Man March, are you a part of the Harlem Mosque or are you part of the Seven? Like, which mosque are you a part of during the May Man March?
Harlem.
Yes,
so
sir.
just for a historical backdrop, well, during the rebuilding of the Nation of Islam, it was actually Brooklyn where they got their first building. They were on Gates Avenue, and then they were at another location. But from 87 up until the Brooklyn Mosque was built, we were always in Harlem. And when Brooklyn branched off, I forgot the year. You can ask Brother Robert. He knows very well. Mosque number 7 in Harlem was always the mother mosque or our headquarters. Brooklyn was the offshoot or the satellite mosque, if you will. So I've always been a member of Harlem, but I like to say I have dual citizenship because I love so many of the believers and many of the brothers, particularly the old school brothers of Brooklyn. I trained them as a lieutenant, and I used to teach the orientation class. So many of the brothers, from Brother Robert to Brother Ali, who's the student minister out there in Tampa, to Minister Henry, who's the minister there. I mean, to Brother Suleiman. Those brothers, when they were coming in, I was blessed to train them and be their orientation instructor, taught them how to drill. So that Brooklyn has always been the satellite mosque. But let me just say this, Brooklyn is full of some hard-charging soldiers that take Islam very seriously, but that's another subject for another time.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. Okay,
during the Million Man March, I'm in Harlem.
Okay, wonderful. And I'm coming right to the Million Man March question. My sister Miriam says, all praise due to Allah. Thank you for taking care of Min Hafeez's wife. She's so deserving. Brother Victor says, you were his first lieutenant, and praise be to Allah. Speaking of the May Man March, what was the climate like leading up to the May Man March in Harlem, and how did it personally impact you?
Oh, bro, the climate was anticipation. Let's fast forward to how the Million Man March started. I remember the minister speaking at the Jacob Javits Center in 1994 on a Sunday. And in fact, brother, on that same day, Janet Jackson was at Madison Square Garden, and the minister outdrew Janet Jackson. So it was a general address. And it was at the Jacob Javits Center that the minister said, I want to meet Black men. And that gave birth to that famous first all males meeting at the 369th Street Armory. That day was phenomenal because the line stretched. You got to understand, the Armory is in Harlem. We had everybody single file. So the line went from Harlem across the bridge that connects the Bronx and Manhattan, all across the bridge to Yankee Stadium, single file. Talking about it was 10,000 men that could fit, but there were thousands that couldn't get in. So that day was phenomenal. And, you know, as New York goes, so goes the nation. When the minister, you know, talked about, you know, going to DC, I mean, it was overwhelming love and support. Going back to the Million Man March, it impacted me tremendously. But I think that the most memorable moment for me was when a brother in the wheelchair had to go to the bathroom. And you got to understand, at the Million Man March, we was like this, brother. It was like we was, you know how you line up for prayer and it's shoulder to shoulder.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It wasn't that much moving. So a brother in a wheelchair indicated that he had to go to the bathroom. The brothers picked this man up, picked his wheelchair up, and was passing the wheelchair. And you just should have saw all of the hands going. And brother, it was blocks long. We're not talking about the size of a basketball court. We're not even talking about the size of a football field. We're talking about the National Mall. You know, brother, you know, DC. Yes, and to see the brother He's holding on, brother. He's holding on to his wheelchair, but the brothers had him with care, brother. That brought tears to my eyes.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. Okay,
All
wonderful.
praises due to Allah.
Yes, sir. My next question is, what has been your greatest trial out in doing your tenure in the Nation of Islam? And how have you overcome that?
Many trials, brother. I'll tell you what my first trial was. 1989, Stop the Killing, Washington, D.C. I stayed back for the press conference. And the press conference was the announcement, the very first time the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan talked about his vision-like experience.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I'm on post, and I read about the mother plane. I never heard this announcement. So as the minister is talking about him being brought up in this experience and talking and hearing the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's voice and how he was brought into the plane, I'm like, yo, this right here is real. Now, yo, either I'm going to believe this or I ain't going to believe this. And I'm talking to myself while I said, man, I'm a believer, man. Go ahead, minister. And I couldn't say I was on post, but that's what I was saying in my mind. And it was a trial because when you are a follower of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, you have to have the same trust and belief in what he says as he has in his trust and belief in Allah, who came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, and the trust and belief that he has in the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. If he is that divine extension, he's like an extension cord plugged into the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who's plugged into Master Fard Muhammad, then whatever he says, because nothing that he says ever was wrong, nothing, no one has ever been able to dispute it. And at that moment, I asked myself, do I believe in this man? Am I ready to die for this man? Will I go down with the ship or up with the ship? And that was the day, you know, when your voice talks to you, you have to be able to check your voice so that that voice has no force and power over you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know, the Quran talks about the whispering of a slinking devil.
Yes, sir.
Into the heart of men from among the men, the jinn and the men.
Yes, sir.
When someone comes to you with a subtle suggestion, you can give them a mean look to back them off. You could swell your chest up or flex your muscle. But when that voice from within makes a suggestion to you, he's already inside. You got to deal with it, your conscious mind versus your subconscious. And so that was, as a young FOI, you know, a moment of trial for me. You know, one of the blessings for me in the Nation of Islam was, you know, going through the ranks. In the Nation of Islam, you don't have time for emotions. When you're a soldier, if they said, brother, we want you to take the outside post for the next year, that's your post. Now, maybe the outside post might not be the most glamorous post, but when you're a soldier, you take honor in any assignment that you're given.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So through my disappointments, I was able to revert back to my days as a soldier, and that allowed me to play hurt. And when I mean play hurt, not pretend that I'm hurt, play while I'm hurting, play while my feelings are certain some way, because I never wanted to be, you know, like many who were disappointed and they fell, disappointed and they left, disappointed and they took their ball and went home and they held their hand. I said, when I made that vow, just like when I got married, brother, till death do us part, and by Allah's permission, you can't be in an organizational framework with Black folks who are styled as hard-headed, stiff-necked, and rebellious and not be tried and not be disappointed. But I vowed that I would stay in here until Allah takes my last breath. So I don't necessarily have a trial that I want to divulge, but I'll just say I've been tried severely.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. And thank you for your perseverance and your words, Brother Minister.
Oh,
What has been
praise.
your greatest joy in your tenure in the Nation of Islam?
Greatest joy. Um, you know, there was a time where I had I had a very long stretch of teaching at the mosque, when Brother Minister was down for a bit, and you know, the thought was, well, maybe they'll bring somebody from out of town, you know, while Brother Minister is down for the moment, and I had to send my lectures to Chicago every week.
Mm.
And you know, for 90 days, brother, I was blessed to fill in for Brother Minister Hafeez. And when brother was, you know, after he was, you know, reinstated and put back and, you know, full duties, I was like, Minister Ishmael thanked me for holding it down. He did this in front of the believers, and you know, gave me some very complimentary words that brought tears to my eyes, because remember, all I wanted to do when I first signed up for this was to help the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I didn't have any post positions in mind. And so just to be obedient and allow Allah to take me various, you know, from squad leader to orientation to student minister to assistant minister, you know, and then to be shown appreciation, because whenever you are in any organization or movement and you dedicate your life, everybody wants at least to know that they appreciate it. Our ultimate reward is with our Lord, but when appreciation is shown to you, or it makes you want to go even harder.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. I'm glad. I'm thankful for that. Um, all right. Boom. Before we keep going, Brother Minister, I just want to have to make sure I give a shout out to my sponsors of the People's Podcast. I thank you all very much for your continued sponsorship. Cash App, the $ the People's Podcast. You all have been keeping the People's Podcast moving forward. I thank you very much. Street Premiere Media Production, 4K cameras and drones. They do television, film, and editing. My sister Miriam's book, ABC I Love Me, coloring book and children's book, which is on Amazon. Thank you very much, Sister Miriam. My sister Naima, Stay on Point Dance Academy, LLC. She teaches ballet virtually. Thank you very much, Sister Naima. Our brother in St. Louis, Supreme Men's Clothing and Fashion. If you need some clothes, reach out to our brother. He'll get them shipped everywhere. Brother Ronald in Phoenix, Arizona. He does event planning and production. BMW Entertainment. Thank you very much. Raising Black Millionaire, Sister Tia Muhammad. Thank you very much for the flashcards that teach and empower young Black children about economics. Brother Kenneth Muhammad, who is in Atlanta now, but from New York, bow tie maker extraordinaire. Thank you very much, Brother Kenneth. Our Brother Todd X McGraw, Supreme Team Insurance Group. Please reach out to our brother to get your insurance done. He does a great job. Exodus, a new way of life, credit restoration. If you need some credit done, reach out to them, as well as Khalid's Boutique. Thank you all for your great fashion. We're going to continue to promote your fashion. If you need some shirts, reach out to our brother Chantel, the Express, and they shipping. They do all kind of things, refrigeration. Our brother Maurice D. Muhammad, selling gold, real carat gold, the real money. Maurice D. Muhammad, please reach out if you're into buying gold. Then Navy Beans, More Than a Bean Pie, Sister Landra E. Muhammad. Thank you very much, Sister Landra.
Who's also from New York.
Okay, I didn't know that. Yes, sir. Dr. Henry Carter. Turkey wings, turkey legs, thank you very much. If you need some home decor, please reach out to our sister. She does a great job as well. Brother Dorsey in Baltimore, Maryland, the Water for Life, thank you very much for your sponsorship. Also, Brother Rashad Muhammad of Chicago with his COVID cleaning company, please reach out. Thank you, Brother Rashad. I hope that your business is very successful. My father's book, A Soldier in the Movement of Christ, AbdulSharif.com. Thank you very much, Dad, for your continued support. And last but not least, my 2 books, No Father, No Excuse, which is on Amazon, and Cleopatra, which is on Amazon, the children's book as well. Thank you very much. I'm coming right back to you, Brother Minister. Yes, sir. Thank you all for your sponsorships. Please like, share, and subscribe on YouTube as well. Boom. Okay, right back to you, Brother Minister.
No, brother, I wanted to say is that that's one of the most beautiful things about your show is you know, there's a sponsorship aspect, but the way you announce and plug these businesses, you do it like with this desire for them to be successful. So shout out to all of the Black entrepreneurs that support this show. And even if you don't support this show, you are an example for our people, because ultimately we all have to steal away from the jobs that we're on and be independent. So thank you for what you do again, Brother Joshua.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. You sent me a clip of a rap video. And for those who don't know, because I didn't know of your rapping career, and you said you're a DJ as well. So there's some time that you take off your ministry hat and get into music. Can you let us know how that came about?
Well, you know, the Bronx is the home of hip hop.
Okay, yes, sir.
Yes. Well, no, let me say, not the current home.
Yes, sir. Okay, well, we know that. We know that.
Well, how about this? The Bronx is the birth of hip hop.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
1975, 76, DJ Kool Herc, and then Africa Bambaataa spread it further with, you know, the Zulu Nation. And so by 1979, I decided to be a rapper. My first record in 1984, you know, made, you know, little regional records, you know, played on the radio by DJ Red Alert and Chuck Chilla.
Hey, okay.
But by 1987, we do a song that didn't get any play in the States, but became #2 in Europe. And I was blessed before I joined the nation to travel to about 8 countries, many cities in those 8 countries throughout Europe, and, you know, performing at the Apollo, and, you know, just I was always in that New York City rap scene. And so, you know, shout out to the Zulu Nation. I've always, you know, hip hop was a part of my life. In fact, brother, you know, I'll say this, Minister Conrad Muhammad was known as the hip hop minister when he was the youth minister for the Nation of Islam. But if the truth be told, it was myself, because I was in that rap scene, that I would bring Fat Joe and Nice and Smooth and Tribe Called Quest and Rex and Effect and Big L and all of the rappers that I knew, you know, from the 90s scene to the mosque. And of course, he being the minister, I made that introduction and he nurtured the relationship. But hip hop is something special to me. So I probably rapped until about 1985, 95. And then I realized that, you know, being a father, you know, rap don't pay the bills unless you were on a big label at that time. And so I was very pleased. And after that, it was beautiful because I transitioned from rap, still a FOI now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
To working for my brother, Carl Kanai. And as I worked for Carl Kanai, I began as the director of marketing and promotions. And so I was able to give clothing for videos and movies and photo shoots to all of the artists, from Nas to Busta to Biggie to Will Smith to everybody, that Ja Rule, you know, from the 90s all the way up into, you know, the mid 2000s. And so it was still like being in the mix, you know, with hip hop.
Praise be to Allah. That's beautiful. Okay, man, you lived an extraordinary life. Praise be to Allah.
Praises due to Allah.
Yes, sir. Well, speaking on the birthplace of hip hop, behind me I have many classic albums that you may or may not know. But if you could choose one album to represent you, like your favorite album of all time, what would it be?
Man, my favorite album of all time was Nas's first album, Illmatic.
Okay, okay.
Um, um, had a couple of tunes produced by another brother from where I live, Mount Vernon, Pete Rock, a good friend of mine. That was a game changer right there. And probably my second one would be Reasonable Doubt, which was Jay-Z's first one.
Yes, sir.
And then probably Biggie, and probably the Fugees' first album.
Okay, The Score.
Yes,
sir.
The Score.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, yes, sir. So I'm glad it's not an East Coast bias there going on at all. I'm glad you were very.
But and I'm a rap connoisseur. What made it difficult for many brothers in New York to really get into South rap is, we had a certain cadence and we had a certain subject content that we were used to and that we judged each other by and anybody else that expressed it. And so, when brothers from the South would rap off of hip hop beats like that, what we call boom bap beats, it didn't hit the mark. I think the closest one for us was what's my man CeeLo's group, first group,
Goody Mob.
Goody Mob. They hit, and then of course Ludacris.
Okay.
But and of course Outkast.
Yes, sir.
We embraced that, but a lot of it was original beats, because one of the things about the South, and I know we're talking about Islam, but if you ever want to talk hip hop, brother, I lecture on hip hop.
Yes, sir.
But one of the things about the South, they did less sampling and more live playing, and so that sound took a getting used to. But that's another subject for another time. I would love to have a discussion on that.
Absolutely. Shout out to the Dungeon family for their live music and the trends that they set for doing music for Goody Mob and of course Outkast. Okay, my next question is: will you ever write a book on your personal life?
I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it because I've had some unique experiences over the years, but I'm not thinking about it too hard because I have a lot of work to do. When you write a book, that's something that you have to really dedicate yourself to. And right now, I don't have the time to do so. But what I will start doing is documenting some of my experiences. So when it is time to write a book, I don't have to go from square one.
Praise be to Allah. Excellent. What advice would you give to future husbands?
Man, yes. Well, shout out to my wife, Sister Nichelle Muhammad, who is a judge here in the city of Mount Vernon, New York. We've been married for 27 years. We have 4 daughters. My advice is to understand that the goal of conflict is resolution. The goal of conflict is not tit for tat. It's not who gets the last word. It's not who can cut who the most. It's not yelling. It's not cursing. It's not to demoralize. The goal of conflict is resolution. Come to a resolve, because when a relationship is psychologically combative and competitive, it is a relationship that is set up to fail. When you marry, particularly a believing man, believing woman, you're at such an advantage if you hold on to that which we have been given in terms of deliberative dialogue, in terms of settling differences, in terms of atonement, in terms of the guidance of the Quran, in terms of all of those things that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has given us relative to family and to marriage, and even those that listen to the books or read the books that Brother Nuri, your dad, and all of those students of the minister has given, which is all based on what the minister has given us. You have to invest in your marriage and just know that it is a marathon and not a sprint.
Yes, sir. And what advice would you, as a father of 4 daughters, what advice would you give to future fathers?
Wow. Just know that there are phases. There are phases of fatherhood. Fatherhood begins with that real lovey-dovey phase where they're little, goo goo gaga, and we have to be, particularly for believing men, we got to be very careful how we raise a Muslim in a non-Muslim era so that our Muslim children don't resent Islam. That piece is so key, because we lose many of our young brothers and sisters who have Islam in their heart, but they also have the thirst and the desire for the street and what's accepted, what's popular also in their heart. And they might not go but so far, but we can't make our Islam so foreign, so spooky, so rigid, so regimented that we become corny overnight to our children. That's the first thing. And that's a subject in and of itself. The second thing is learning how to parent young adult and adult children. Because many times our children get in their teens and they live under your roof, and in their mind, they're 17, 18, 19. In their mind, they're thinking independently. They desire independence, but they are not yet financially independent, living up under your roof. How far do you allow them to have freedom? Where do you put the hammer down? That whole parenting adult children, that is a science that we have to also look at, and that's another subject again for another time. But just know it's phases, because there's an aspect of a child's life or a time in a child's life that you have to kind of let go, because again, we don't want our children resenting us in the name of did it this way, I did it this way. We don't want to lose our children.
Praise be to Allah. Beautiful teaching, Brother Minister. Beautiful. And thank you all. I see your comments. Thank you all for continuing to watch the People's Podcast. I want to go back to when you said you were under multiple ministers, but you were on. How was it working with Brother Benjamin Chavis?
Brother Benjamin, it was a joy. He gave a lot of freedom. But he also gave me the greatest advice that I've ever received from a minister. Oftentimes when the mosque meeting is going on, the minister is preparing for his lecture, and he doesn't necessarily hear the group of assistants speak. And any assistant, anyone working on behalf of somebody wants to know, how am I doing?
Yes, sir.
How do you evaluate me? And so he said to me, he says, brother, you're a very strong minister. You're very strong. You know your figures, you know your facts, and you come off that way. And what you say, it hits and penetrates the head. He said, if I can give you some advice, find a way that after you hit the head, you make sure that your words penetrates to the heart. Man, when he said that, it made me reevaluate. Sometimes, we like to bring it and give that thunder and go hard.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If you don't give the people an opportunity to accept the challenge to change, to do better, to reflect, to introspect about their life, so that when they leave, they got some takeaways deep in the crevice of their mind, then it's all vanity. So that was a great jewel that I received from our brother Benjamin at that time.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. And you've given me, I always chop my interviews up to post on Facebook and Twitter to get people to watch. You give me so much to chop up, Brother Minister.
Yes, sir.
Brother Jay DeLay says, reaching that balance. He's going through that with his right now with his children. Praise be to Allah. He said, this damn Josh, his brother is the realest. Praise be to Allah.
All praises due to Allah.
Yes, sir. My next question is, what do you want your legacy to be, Bro Minister?
I want my legacy to be that of a soldier. You see, brother, all posts are temporary. If somebody is brought in to command the East Coast, all praise is due to Allah. I'm going to request that I be one of those that ushers that person in. Even if it means that I take a step to the side, I'm a company man for the Nation of Islam.
Yes, sir.
So I want my legacy to be that of a soldier. Any post that I have been blessed to fulfill, I have been tried to give it my 100%. If it was being a drill instructor, if it was training the new fruit to how to stand posts and military posture, if it was student ministry, if it was having to do some of the things that we had to do back in the 90s, whatever it was, I want to just be known as a soldier and a brother's brother, because it's about Allah, Elijah, and Farrakhan, and of course the believers. But in order for us as believers from diverse backgrounds, from diverse experiences, from diverse emotional intelligence levels, we have to have structure in order. We can't have importance among believers. It can't be big I's and little U's. In order for this nation to work, we are only as strong as our ability to follow instructions from on high and don't question every little detail. Know that it's coming from a divine and a secure place. And so again, I want to just be known as a soldier.
Praise be to Allah. And thank you, Brother Minister. I have one more question, because you just said that again, teaching people how to drill. Well, New York has been known for having some great drill teams on the FOI and the junior FOI as well. I didn't know that you were part of the drill, pedigree of New York. I didn't know that you did that. What about drill do you love?
I would say like this: I'm the drill and I'm the drill sergeant. Brother Alton is the drill instructor.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm the one that is a stickler for the middle finger touching the edge of the eyebrows.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
No, sir, that don't count. Do it again. Bang. I'm the stickler for that ridge hand or that shuto knife hand. I'm the one that's stickler for that 45-degree angle.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I'm a one for when you are drilling, that your hands is in a loose fist, 6 inches from your knee and 6 inches from the back of the knee. No, brother, start over again. Try it again. That is that part, that regimentation, and I was known back in the 90s, man, come on, 50 push-ups, brother, come on, that wasn't even right. Come on, let's try it again. I was a trainer, in the 90s when a captain had lieutenants. A lieutenant took pride in knowing that every one of his soldiers under his command knew their general orders, knew their actual facts and their student enrollment, knew what is a fruit, knew how to hold every post, and so we were big on training, military training of the men. So that's the aspect. I wasn't much of doing the drill competitions, but when we used to drill for 45 minutes, an hour in FOI class, and we sweating and brother and doing eliminations, brother, when that was like the highlight of FOI class, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Me, brother. All praise is due to Allah.
Praise be to Allah. Well, thank you, Brother Drill Sergeant, for your great work and your example, and your students are hopefully making you proud, because New York is definitely known as being a great drill team and a great spirit and energy, always coming from the Fedahim and the FOI of Mosque number 7.
I'm very proud of those brothers. They make us very proud. And they have caused some controversial Savior's Days. But you know, the beauty is when that is one of the highlights of our Savior's Day convention, which we may never have like we had it in the past.
Yes, sir.
So, you know, I don't know if we're going to have a virtual drill,
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
or if we'll be blessed to see each other. But I thank Allah that we have this medium, this digital medium where we can still conduct our classes. We can still see our beloved brother minister and Minister Ishmael, who's doing a wonderful job.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. We can have FY classes. So, you know, it's in the virtual space, but imagine if this technology did not exist, you know, we would be in a dark space.
Absolutely. And praise be to Allah. I want to thank you, Brother Minister. I can't believe that you watched me and my siblings grow up. And this is our first time having a conversation now, but I'm grateful that I've learned who you are. And because all I know is your name. And everybody's like, Brother Arthur, Brother Arthur, Brother Ms. Arthur, Brother Arthur. But to have this conversation, I feel so connected to you and your family. Please continue to do the great work that you all have been doing and representing the teachers of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad in New York.
Thank you. And I want to say on a personal level, please give your dad the greetings.
Yes, sir.
And, you know, there's so much that we didn't talk about, but I got to give a shout out to your brother, Chill.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know, I remember when the minister first had the rappers over his house. Chill said, brother, man, I need you to get some rappers from New York, brother. And I was blessed to bring Fat Joe to the minister's house. And that was a blessing for me. And he's been friends with the minister ever since. Your brother, 1 year was 90. I forget what 90 it was, but he asked me to organize the entertainment for Savior's Day. And that's when we had the entertainment at the MUI gym.
I saw the pictures. So yes, sir.
We bought Dougie Fresh up. We bought Nice and Smooth up. We bought Too Short on that day. He did clean stuff. We had some comedians from the Apollo come up to do clean sets, and it was a blessing. And so Chill, when you talk about hip hop in the nation, he's very integral as well. And so may Allah bless him to heal. I love that, brother. Come on, heal up and come on back and help the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, help your dad, your family, and thank you, brothers, in Atlanta. You know, the mighty work that the Southern Regional Representative, Minister Abdul Sharif Muhammad, is doing. In many instances, he's setting the pace for the nation. We love and respect you. NOI to the day I die. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam, sir. Praise be to Allah. And thank you all for watching the People's Podcast.